Hey, what's up guys? So we're here at SEMA at the Dongar booth, and I'm here with Kevin, who's the founder of Dongar. And they make these really cool power adapters for both radar detectors and for dash cams. Can you tell us a little bit about like how they work?
Yeah, totally. So we all know that when you buy something like a dash cam or radar, they already give you a way of powering it, right? Cigarette lighter adapter, or in the case of dash cams, you're usually required to use one of these guys, a fuse box hardwire kit. So I mean, you're losing most people when you expect them to find the fuse box, usually in the passenger footwell, open this guy up, tap it, and then put the cover back on. And that's after figuring out which of these fuses you need to tap for ignition switch power.
Yeah, which one's ignition switch, yeah, like, and then
Exactly.
safety-wise, don't tap into like an airbag or something,
Exactly.
and then put it in properly. If you put it in backwards, then now like the fuse doesn't protect you, so.
Yeah, and even find a place for the little ground.
The ground, kind of find like a ground bolt somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, and that's terrible, right? You just bought a brand new $50,000 car, and suddenly you have to run this through it. Or if you use a cigarette lighter adapter, you automatically lose that for the rest of your life, as long as you're powering that dash cam, right? So we thought of a better way to do that. When I came up with this concept a couple years ago, I realized there's power already running everywhere around your car. Why not just find a better way of powering this? Like, there's a lot of innovation with dash cams themselves, with Bluetooth, LTE, etc. But why are we still wiring it the old way? So versus using a fuse box hardwire kit, this is a much better idea. So most of our products will use an existing connector already, sort of in the dome light area of your car. So this, straight out of my Toyota Corolla, it's as easy as pulling one panel down and then sliding the outer shroud down. And suddenly you have access to all the electrical connectors powering things like your rear view mirror or something like your rain sensor or your light sensor. So all we have to do is create harnesses that pass through the information and the data we don't use, and then use your 12 volt and your ground rails to power a dash cam.
I've actually been wanting to test this, and I know a lot of you guys in the comments are like, hey, can you test the Dongar adapters?
Yeah.
And I've actually been wanting to, but unfortunately there's no adapters for either one of my cars, so I haven't been able to test it. But what's really nice is they do have them available for a variety of cars, not all of them, but a whole bunch. And they have a bunch of different types of adapters with different features and different functionality. So let's take a look at the actual adapters and how they work. So as far as the different models, I know you have a number of different adapters here, depending on if you wanted to record only when you're driving or also parking recording. Some of them have advanced features, or even depending on which brand of dash cam, you might need a certain model for parking recording that other ones don't support. So let's run through the different models and you can kind of run us through the differences here. So to start off, let's begin here with like your original version, the classic adapter. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, totally. So this is our base model. So this is made for people that want to power their dash cam when the car is turned on or off and don't really care about things like parking mode. So use case here is for someone who parks in the garage and they strictly want to record their drive and nothing else. So the base model here comes with our USB-C adapter with 5, 9, and 12 volt output, but it also comes with OEM grade harnesses. So these are built using parts sourced from the same people as whoever Toyota and Hyundai sourced from, for example. And it also comes with a USB-C cable, custom sized, because obviously you don't need as much wiring anymore to power your dash cam.
And then these harnesses here, do we have to like, I guess when you order one, do you say what car you have and what mirror so that we can get the right type of harness?
Yeah, totally. So depending on who manufactured your car, the Japanese versus the Koreans versus American cars versus European cars, they all source from different suppliers. But fortunately, say, for example, Hyundai, they use the same mirrors across all of their cars. So we have SKUs specific for Mazda, Toyota, Ford.
And I notice you also have the Classic Plus. This one though has an LCD screen. Like what's the difference between this and the original Classic?
Yeah, so this is our Classic with a few embellishments. So we've added an OLED screen here with one button user interface. And so from this default screen, you can see the output voltage and the output current. You can also change it. You can also change the menus to watts if you want using the one button UI system. So here I'm switching it to watts, for example. Main use case for wanting to see your output voltage and output current is to, for starters, see what your dash cam is doing. You know, if you like to geek out and see which camera uses, you know, what amount of power based on how many channels you use. So this, for example, is powering an X-Base Pico, and you can see it's only consuming 1.8 watts. Of course, that's probably more information than you ever needed to know. but it's nice to have. Other benefit of knowing your output voltage is it helps confirm the fact that you are providing your dash cam with stable voltage, because if it isn't a very efficient design and this voltage drops below 5, say slightly below 5, your dash cam will stay running, but that will make the current itself spike within the dash cam, potentially damaging some components. The other things you can do, there is a side LED which you might be able to see on camera. If you want to run the setup and have a timer on the screen so that it shuts off after 5 minutes, you can totally set that. And then you can configure the side LED to, change colors depending on if you're outputting 5 volt or 12 volt if you're running a radar detector, for example.
Now, for parking recording, I see that you've got two different models. You've got the Dongar Pro as well as the Pro Plus. So the Pro Plus has the display like we just looked at, but let's start here first with the Pro.
Yeah, so Dongar Pro was released last year around SEMA. So that takes the power electronics of the Classic and adds parking mode thanks to an onboard microcontroller.
And then this is a 3-wire one as opposed to 2.
Oh yeah, correct. So up top here, you have a constant power input, a ignition switch input, and then also your ground wires. So this would tap into, say, your HomeLink mirror, which always has constant power and ignition switch power running to it, actually. Up front here, you see a 3-way toggle switch with 3 modes: ignition, continuous, and timed. Continuous is that little infinity sign there in the middle. So if you want your Dongar Pro to behave just like a Dongar Classic so that it turns on and off when you drive the car, set that to ignition.
So that's just for recording when you're driving, right?
Correct. So when the ignition is on, say if you want parking mode or if you want to record while you're parked and the car is locked, set it to continuous mode. So what that does, as soon as you turn the car off, Dongar Pro will keep your dash cam or USB-C device powered continuously until an input voltage of 11.8 volts is detected. So that's 11.8 volts system voltage. And that's basically where you want to turn your dash cam off to ensure that you can restart your engine when you come back to it. And this last mode here is sort of a hybrid, or it's sort of like a middle ground here, where what inspired this mode was, hey, if you park in a garage and you're not expecting people to steal your car out of your garage, you don't really need parking mode in your garage. You don't need to record inside. So this is sort of just a safety mechanism. So say if you park your car, in your driveway or in your garage at 6 p.m., it'll cut off by 10 p.m.
Okay, so the timer would be good. So you got 4 hours of parking recording. If you go to the mall, you go out to eat or something, you've got a little bit of parking recording. But if you're always, working from home, you're in your garage, you can use timer and then kind of preserve your battery.
Yeah, if you're not forgetful like me, you can always switch it to ignition mode between rides, or, if you're parked out on the street, you might want to switch it back to infinity. By the way, if you notice, there's a little pulsing LED light. So this is indicating that this is in parking mode and this is in continuous mode. So if I flip that to T, it's gonna pulse green. And then of course, when you turn the car back on, the entire process restarts. So the timer would restart until you turn the car back off. Now it's pulsing green again.
And then with the Pro Plus, I see that this one adds the display. So what kind of functionality and features do you get here?
Yeah, so this is newly released for SEMA 2025. So this is the Dongar Pro on super steroids. Some people were inquiring about the Dongar Pro and its 4-hour timer, and hey, why did you choose 4 hours, or what's the cutoff voltage? Why is it 11.8? So this is for super power users who really love their car. So for example, using the same one button UI from Dongar Classic Plus, you can actually change every single parameter you would imagine for parking mode. So for example, you can adjust the voltage cutoff down to hypothetically a hundredth of a volt.
If you don't want 11.8, you can actually choose the voltage.
Yeah, so right now I have it set to 13, but hypothetically you might want to set it to, let's say 12.
Like 12.2 or something.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. So now,
wow, okay.
Now when you use the continuous parking mode, instead of 11.8, it's going to cut out at 12.02. And then one button interface, you just press and hold to change parameters and page through the system. You can also change the timer duration. So if I go into the menu here, access that menu, right now it's set to 4 hours and 30 minutes. So say if I want to, power it for 14 hours, now it's 14 hours and 40 minutes, for example. So going back to the main menu.
Even dash cams don't give you that level of control.
Yeah. And that's what we really engineered this for, right? So say you want to power a GoPro, you can actually turn your GoPro or something else into a dash cam and let this manage the power for you. So say going back to the main menu and going into the modes, we have 4 different modes here. So ignition mode is just like that classic, or the ignition mode on the Pro. So this will turn on and off when you turn the vehicle off, on or off. Or you can do timer only. Of course, there's also low voltage thresholds built into that, or low voltage threshold only, which is what we call the infinity mode. This last mode is called energy budget mode. And this is more of a sort of like a preset. Another thing we're working on is, hey, we're adding a little Tamagotchi here. This is a little gag. So this shows you the total power consumption of this dash cam, having ran since we last rebooted it or whatever. So we've consumed 18 watt hours of energy with this setup. And the little character here, we're trying to think of a cool name for him, maybe Dongar or something. He's gonna be doing things based on how long you've used our dash cam adapter. So yeah, we're just having fun with the concept.
And then besides having that display for the extra control and monitoring and whatnot, I understand like with the Pro Plus, it's also necessary for certain brands of dash cams like in the first place.
Yeah, totally. So cameras, some cameras from Redtiger, Viofo, and probably a whole bunch of others, they have proprietary parking modes built into them.
As far as like the communication, how it's done over USB?
Unfortunately, these manufacturers have departed from the USB-C standard that's dictated by the USB-C implementation for them. And that's a long-winded way of saying, even though it looks like a USB-C port and that's how your dash cam's powered, it's not actually using USB-C. So we've had to reverse engineer that and figure out a way of triggering the proprietary parking modes developed by these camera systems. So say your low bitrate parking mode from Viofo, you're able to set that up with our adapter. Otherwise, you're going to have to use their own in-house dashcam hardwiring kit.
Okay, so which brands would actually require the Pro Plus and wouldn't work with the Pro?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, technically, none of these dash cams require it. That's only to trigger their proprietary parking mode. So technically, any dash cam, you're adding parking mode to any single dash cam. If you want to trigger their low data mode, you should use the Pro Plus. Honestly, most 99% of the people would get by with just a regular Pro.
Ah, okay. I was under the impression that like if you run a VFO, for example, you have to run the Pro Plus, but that's not the case.
Only you say it's to unlock certain features.
Is there a list on your website that kind of goes over like the different brands and parking modes so people can tell if they should opt for the Plus or not?
Yeah, totally. So we just launched these, and we have a nice compatibility tool in the works, and you'll see that on our site.
And then lastly, I see you've got the Dongar Compact here, and this one's actually hooked up to a radar detector instead of a dash cam. So tell me about this one.
Yeah, so this is Dongar Compact. So this is our Classic Plus in the most compact possible form factor. So this is best for applications where you see a connector directly behind your rearview mirror. So this exact SKU, for example, is from a Ford Bronco Raptor. This is installed in every F-150 Lightning and the majority of F-150s and Broncos, etc., even previous generation Mustangs. They all use the same mirror. So this is just a cool little demo of us powering a Uniden RAW. So down here you can see that the output right now is 12.1 volts. So if I unplug that, this is going to default back to 5 volt output, perfect for dash cams which universally use 5 volt output. So just using one of our proprietary cables here, I can plug this in and the adapter is going to trigger the 12 volt output, and then I plug that in and then I can power the unit in. And of course, if you're running something like this brand new Viofo, you can also do that. So it's not just for radars. You can simply plug in a different device and you're off to the races.
Is it possible to connect both a radar detector and a dash cam here simultaneously, or would you need to switch depending on what you're wanting it to power?
Yeah, great question. So USB-C is a little tricky because you're only really supposed to output one voltage from a USB-C port at any given time. In this case, it's 5 volt. Right, the Uniden and most radars are 12 volt systems. So technically you could power 2 5 volt devices or 2 12 volt devices at the same time. So hypothetically you can power a radar plus a 12 volt dash cam like a Blackview or a Thinkware, but it really depends on your application. It's a little nuanced.
Something else I was wondering is if we're tapping into the powered rearview mirror for power, I know in both of my cars, when I turn off the car, the mirrors shut off. So like the rearview mirror, the home link system, so if somebody breaks into my car, they can't now just push the button to open my garage.
Yeah.
So how would this work if I want parking recording capability, but my rearview mirror shuts off when the car is off?
Yeah, we're working on solutions for most cars. Like 99% of the cars out there there is power running to the map light at all times. You know, hence when you're sitting in your car, when it's off, you're able to read a book, right?
If the mirror is off, the light, it still has power.
There is constant power and ignition switch power running all over your vehicles. We're working on products for those. It's just a matter of being able to find test vehicles. You know, we're a small startup, but I mean, interestingly enough, Toyota and Lexus, they pre-provision dash cam wiring in the dome light already, because you can buy an OEM Toyota dash cam, right? Of course, they're outsourcing that to maybe a third party, maybe based in Asia, but using a Dongar adapter, we actually give you the harnesses so that you can use Toyota's official dash cam installation port, but you get to choose your own dash cam, right? The Toyota OEM dash cam is front view only, for example. So say you can go to Toyota right now and buy a Land Cruiser. There's already ignition switched and constant power running to a dedicated connector, and we have a product for that.
Cool, so you have the option for like other dash cams that might be better or preferable for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And for cars like mine where the mirror shuts off, there's still power that's available even with the car's off.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we wanted to keep things modular so you get to mix and match. Depending on your applications, every single car is different, but we're trying to cover them all.
And then lastly, I know there's also other maybe similar products that can also plug into the rearview mirror. How is yours different than kind of the competition?
There are probably 20 or 30 competitors on the market. Of course, that goes with anything you can buy on Amazon. We've invented this concept, but the devils are in the details. I mean, we spend so much time on the engineering and just the things you would never think about. So for example, this is one of our PCBs enclosed in resin, and compared to something from one of the major dash cam manufacturers, we use 6 and 8 layer PCBAs versus theirs, which only use 2 in most cases. So that's twice the thermal mass. That means a lot more reliability. I mean, it's not going to overheat. We offer a 3-year warranty on our products. And I mean, here we have a little thermal demo showing, you know, one of these knockoffs powering 5 dash cams versus our classic module powering 10 dash cams. And the plastic on this thing is already melting. I mean, you can see here the capacitors are overheating. And this is ambient air. This is, you know, relatively cool convention center. In the Texas heat or something, this isn't going to last more than maybe a year. But like I said, as you see, these dash cams are being powered. Right now, the voltage in this is probably sagging. Here, I guarantee this is a more stable 5.1 volt output. So this is actually safer for your electronics. So even though these dash cams are still running, in the long term, you're going to want to run something like a Classic or a Dongar Pro.
So if people want to go and purchase one of your adapters here, where do they go to like choose the right adapter and then also make sure it fits for their vehicle?
Yeah, so we have a compatibility guide on our website that we're working on. So you're going to be able to choose, you know, your make, model. And if we have something, you're going to see it on there.
And I'll put a link to the website down in the description. So if you want to pick one of these up, you can go order one online.
Great.
Great.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks. Enjoy the show.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.